What's up guys, Matt here, coming to you from the back shop area of Laidlaw's Harley-Davidson. So I'm pretty excited because today we're going to crack into my CVO Road Glide ST and start to do some of the customization work that I've been planning for a while now. So I've been collecting a lot of different parts and kind of doing like planning in my mind for several months now on things that I want to change. It is a CVO, so there's not nearly as many things that I'm going to change on this bike than I did like say on some of my past bikes. But I'm going to be doing things like adding a tour pack, changing bars, changing out the engine guard, foot controls, namely the floorboards I'm going to be changing out. I'm be doing bars and everything. So I'm going to have my guy John Terradot crack into it. It's going to be a couple day project. He's going to kind of fit me in where he has time. Today we're going to knock out some of the smaller things, things like seat, windshield. I think we might do the tour pack today. So I'm going to show you guys some of the stuff that I'm going to be doing to the bike and kind of talking you through my reason why I'm changing these things. And you know, a lot of it is just tailoring it for my height and my use case, you know, what I'm going to be using the bike for, which is primarily traveling, touring, overnight stuff. And so let me take you through the parts and show you exactly what I got here. First off, one of the things that I brought up when the CVO Road Glide ST first came out was the remote reservoirs on the bike. So you have those reservoirs right there where normally you'd put docking hardware. So Harley-Davidson does have a kit they've come out with now where you're going to relocate the remote reservoirs for the rear shocks. I'm going to be doing that because I'm going to be putting a tour pack on the back of this. So we got to relocate those remote reservoirs. As I mentioned in my previous video as well, I just don't like the small switchback floorboards. So Harley-Davidson did make the switchback floorboards in two different sizes. So I'm going to go to the larger of the two. So swapping out to the larger normal size floorboard as opposed to those smaller sportier ones that come stock on the bike. You got to buy two new front mounting brackets as well because the mounting bracket in the front is different for the stock smaller floorboard. I'm doing an engine guard. I love the flat out bar and it kind of hurts me to take the flat out bar off, but at the end of the day, I got to have my highway pegs. I got to have my feet stretched out. So I'm doing some highway pegs. I'm doing a regular traditional engine guard on the bike and I'm doing the switchback pegs on there. So I'll be doing kind of a matching set of pegs to match the switchback pegs on my floorboards and grips. And this is a little bit of a mounting bracket that's going to mount the pegs off of the engine guard. I'm doing a tour pack. These are some spacers. If you're doing the chopped tour pack, you got to put these spacers in so that the saddlebag lid's clear the tour pack. So I've got that here. Now, one of the most exciting parts about my bike build is the new seat. So I love this box seat that comes on the bike, but unfortunately it just sits me too far forward. And so I had to have a custom made seat that sits me back 2 inches. And while I was doing that, I wanted something that's going to be more comfort oriented because I'm going to be spending hours in the saddle on this bike. And so comfort was the priority, not so much the firmness, sporty look of the seat. So I hit up my guys over at Saddlemen and they made a custom seat for me. This is the road sofa, but it also has that 2-inch setback to basically fit me better on the bike and bring me back 2 inches in the saddle. And I would recommend this for anybody that's like maybe 6'3", 6'4", or taller. You got to get a custom seat that sets you back 2 inches. Just it gets your knees in a lot better position where your knees are now not completely above your hips. You know, you're more in line with your hip level, and this is going to be a lot better comfort. The road sofa as a whole too it's more of a pillowy seat, so this is going to be a seat that I can do 2 or 3 days in the saddle, you know, 600 miles plus in a day. Here's another thing that I preach on the channel a lot, guys, and you know, I'm officially an old man now, but I don't even care. For long rides, this is a hack, guys. Anybody who hasn't, I'm gonna say if you know, you know. This is a if you know, you know moment right here, guys. The rider backrest, money. If you're out on the road, this is going to increase your comfort by, I would say, like 50%. Just having this back there, so you're not having to constantly use your core or slouch in the saddle. This increases your comfort a lot. And what's nice is I can take this in and out. You know, when I'm not using it, if I'm just going locally, I can just slip it out real quick. But if I'm on like a long trip, the rider backrest, guys, you know, if you guys watch my top 10 touring accessories video, I mentioned this in there. And I'm a believer in what I preach, guys. So So the windshield I went with is the 12-inch dark smoke. They also make a 13.5-inch, which is the size that Brian recommended to me, Brian Klock. And I opted to go a little bit shorter just kind of for the sake of styling. Hopefully I don't regret that. But it looks like it's gonna give me quite a bit of wind deflection. I'm kind of used to a little bit of headwind in most of my bikes. So if I was going just for full wind isolation, I probably would have gone with the 13.5, but I think the 12.5 looks really good still. It's dark smoke. I think it kind of fits with the theme of the bike, kind of that black, sinister race look. And it's still gonna give me a little bit of additional headwind protection. So we'll see how it performs out on the road. All right, so next up, the Tour Pack. So I got the Raven metallic color matched chopped Tour Pack from the factory. So commonly asked question, people want to know, okay, do they make a color matched Tour Pack for the CVO colors? And the answer is yes. So I did the chopped one. So we're gonna check this out. I haven't even looked at this yet. I'm gonna check it out for the first time. So it's got the 25th anniversary logo on there. Nice. Raven metallic. Clean. Love it. Very nice. All right, so we've gotten to a part that is bringing up and hopefully going to answer a lot of questions that I had when the bike first came out. So you have the remote reservoirs for the rear shocks on this bike, and they're mounted in the docking hardware area where you normally would mount like your Tour Pack or whatever. So Harley-Davidson does have a solution now for this issue to where you can relocate the remote reservoirs and still have like a Tour Pack. So Harley-Davidson came out with a bracket now, and John's just installing it. This is the first time we've done a CVO Road Glide ST with this relocation of the remote reservoir. So we're gonna take a close look at this. This is a question that I got a lot when this bike first came out. So hopefully we come up with some answers right now.
Basically, we have to remove the stock bracket, and then the detachable hardware docking point goes in, and then this new plate bolts onto the outside with spacers.
Is the saddlebag lid and the Tour Pack going to clear that remote reservoir and everything?
That's what they say.
We'll find out, right?
Yep.
All right, we're doing the second one now. So do you use the stock mounting bracket right there, or does that get replaced altogether?
It gets replaced with a whole new one.
So this is a Harley part number and everything.
Correct.
All right, we'll see how the Tour Pack goes on. All right, so got the relocating bracket, mounts on the outside of the strut there. You have longer bolts and a couple spacers. So we threw that on, and we're gonna try the Tour Pack, throw that on as well, and hopefully everything works out. You know, it looks like, I mean, between the saddlebag lids and the Tour Pack, the bottom of that looks like it's a little bit crowded in that back docking area now, but hopefully everything clears out and everything's good. This is a Harley-Davidson part number, and so if you have one of these motorcycles and you want to do passenger backrest, King Tour Pack, Chop Tour Pack, anything that bolts on, then this is the kit that you're going to want to get for your bike. This is the mounting bracket that bolts up on the bottom of the tour pack so you can mount it to the docking hardware on your motorcycle. Got that in black. You can get that in black or chrome. Of course, I got it in black to match the rest of the finishes on my bike. And then another thing, so this is the docking hardware that goes on the tour pack that is locking. So if you don't have locking hardware, anybody that knows how to remove a tour pack off of a Harley-Davidson can just unattach your tour pack and take $3,000 from you, without you even knowing. They can do it in, less than 20 seconds. Hey guys, do me a favor, don't cheap out on the tour pack. Don't cheap out on the tour pack or your saddlebags. A lot of guys get like these aftermarket saddlebags or tour packs, and the plastic is just not nearly as good. The fit and finish is nowhere near what Harley-Davidson ships it from the factory. That and the factory stuff is all paint matched as well. However, the inside of the tour pack, you got to get the liner. Yeah, I've got the liner for the tour pack, and I've got the liner for my saddlebags as well. Those make a big difference and relatively inexpensive as well. I just think that it's kind of a no-brainer to get the liners for the tour pack and the saddlebags. Don't cheap out on the tour pack and stretch saddlebags, guys. A lot of people get these bags and stuff from like the swap meet or whatever, and they look like crap. And just like they're flimsy, and the quality is just not there. Over the years, we've done a lot of Kraus stuff, and I've just kind of fallen in love with their products. I love the Kraus Risers. The quality's awesome. I've been to their shop in southern Utah, and they just got a really good operation, and so I really have a lot of trust in Kraus stuff. I like the look of them. I think it's perfect for this bike as well. So I'm doing a 10-inch Kraus Riser with the kickback, and so it should bring me back and up a little bit more. I got to ride my bike a little bit with the Saddlemen Seat on there, and the seat feels great, but now I feel like I'm leaning a little bit too far forward with the stock bars. And the plan from the beginning was to go to Kraus Risers. So I think once I put the Kraus Risers on there, get them up and back a little bit, then that's going to get me in the right ergonomic position on the motorcycle. Doing an ODI bar on there, so kind of a moto style bar. Pretty excited to finally get some Kraus bars on my bike. We've used them on a lot of different motorcycle builds over the years. Some of our very best bike builds we've done over the last probably 7-8 years. We've had Kraus Risers on there.
Yeah, for starters, it's aluminum instead of cast steel.
You're pulling out new hardware there?
Yeah, so you're eliminating the rubber bushings that go into the risers, because the new risers have the polyurethane. Let me grab this. The new ones have the bushings up in the inside here, higher to the clamp.
So you're relocating the rubber isolating bushing.
Yeah, they already come from Kraus. If you look in there, there's the bolt that goes inside, and the rubber isolators in here instead of down at the tree.
As part of the bar setup, I wanted to do the quad lock. I talked about this before, but I'm kind of just been converted now to having a phone on my bars at all times, just for communications reasons, texting. Sometimes I use it for navigation as well. I have a little bit more confidence in the fact that this new bike has Apple CarPlay now, so maybe I won't use it as much for navigation. Just having my phone up there has just kind of been the way I like to go now for a multitude of reasons. So the thing that I didn't like about having a phone mount that I've kind of been resisting for a long time, the whole phone mount thing, is just the fact that I think it's ugly having this big apparatus up there that mounts your phone. But with Quad Lock, I found that it just looks really, really clean. You have a smaller footprint on your handlebars. I'm trying to center it evenly over my top riser clamp, so it looks as clean as possible when the phone's on there and when it's not on there. So we'll see what John can come up with in terms of just making it, the aesthetics, a little bit more appealing. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that setup. We got it almost centered on top of the riser there. What parts do we use, John? The Handlebar Mount Pro. I got the color match tab, so I got like a red tab. The release tab in red to kind of match the highlights around the bike, which is kind of cool. Did the anti-vibration dampener, and I think that's it, right, John? The Handlebar Mount Pro, the anti-vibration dampener, and that red tab. I think that's about everything I used. So this is key right here, guys, the anti-vibration dampener, so that your cell phone camera doesn't get all vibrated and your camera breaks. I think that's about it. The other mount you can go with is the brake and clutch mount. So I have one of these on hand just in case that the Handlebar Pro mount didn't work. This mounts right where your switch housings, the hardware goes in to mount your switch housings to the handlebars. This is kind of my backup plan. I think it turned out really clean. The other thing is I realized I never really picked out passenger floorboards. I ride with my wife a lot, and so I'm definitely going to need to have passenger accommodations. However, the Switchback collection does not have passenger floorboards. So I'm either going to have to go to a peg style, which isn't as comfortable, or I'm going to have to go to a mismatched passenger floorboard. So I'm not really sure what direction I'm going to go yet. I probably will just go to a mismatched passenger floorboard just because I prioritize the comfort over, you know, making everything matchy, although that is pretty important to me as well. But yeah, I'll explore my options and we'll figure it out. Alright guys, so here's the final product after all the customization stuff we did. I'm pretty happy with how everything turned out. I'm pretty happy with all the decisions I made, including the starting bike, the CVO Road Glide ST. I think some people may argue that I took what was once a performance bagger and turned it into a little bit more of a geezer glide, and I probably agree with you. I think probably the best way to describe my bike is a performance bagger that mated with a ultra limited. So I like to call my bike a performance geezer, really is what it is. But I think at the end of the day, it's exactly what I'm going for, and it's going to give me exactly what I want out of a Harley-Davidson. And so in that respect, I'm super happy with everything. I like the Chop Tour Pack. I think it's kind of a middle ground where it still looks really cool, but you've also got the functionality of a Tour Pack on there. I'm happy Harley-Davidson came out with that relocation kit just in time for the remote reservoirs that I was able to get this on here. And comfort's a priority for me, guys. So the Road Sofa, although it doesn't maybe look as sleek as like the stock seat and a little bit more like racetrack appropriate, the Saddlemen Seat, especially with that extended reach, that 2-inch kickback, it really made me fit a lot better on this motorcycle. Combine that with the passenger comfort that I know my wife is going to enjoy, and the rider backrest as well, which is something that I really wish I could have had on my Street Glide for 5 years. And now that I have it, especially with the versatility of being able to take it off when I'm just doing a local ride, it's just a really nice feature to have in terms of just the overall comfort of your bike. I love the fact that Harley-Davidson went with that 6-inch riser on the handlebars from the factory. I think it's a cool style cue, but it just wasn't tall enough for me, and the bars just weren't back far enough for me, especially with the relocation of my seating position. I think the Kraus bars turned out perfectly. We haven't done a whole lot of the Generation 3 Road Glides and Street Glides with the new fairings and new infotainment with these bars and this size and everything. everything. And I'm happy to say that the screen is still 100% viewable. I actually could probably go 2 more inches just for ergonomics reasons and do a 12-inch riser. I may change that in the future, but right now the 10-inch kickback fits me pretty dang good, so I'm going to keep it for a while. It definitely stung taking off the flat-out bar just because I love the style on this bike. But after my first ride home and being able to stretch out with the highway pegs, I soon forgot about it pretty quickly and I didn't miss it after that. The bigger switchback boards are definitely a nice comfort thing as well. I always just felt like my toe was hanging over the edge on those small little stock switchback floorboards that came from the factory. For passenger footrest accommodations, I actually did end up going with the switchback foot pegs on there. We had them in stock and they did match like the highway pegs and the floorboards and the grips and everything, so I just went with it. We'll see if it becomes a comfort issue for my wife when she rides with me. The Klock windshield I think looks good. You do lose a little bit of that performance sleekness that you get from the factory windshield, but the 12-inch Klock windshield does give me some additional headwind deflection. I found one of those smaller passenger backrests in the Harley-Davidson catalog that mounts to the chopped tour pack. The red stitching actually matches perfectly with the Saddlemen stitching, and so it looks pretty good. I may actually reach out to Saddlemen and have them recovered the backrest to match perfectly with the diamond stitch of the actual seat. A lot of people have asked me, okay Matt, are you going to be doing exhaust? And I'm still very torn on it. I actually really like the stock exhaust on this bike. I think the finish on the heat shield looks really good. I love those titanium black mufflers. I have a hard time pulling those off with the carbon fiber tips on them. It looks really, really good. And honestly, when you're on throttle on this bike, it has a pretty good bark actually. And so really the only reason I'd be taking it off is just to get something that looks more custom and something that's a little bit louder. And I'll be honest, sometimes I want a louder exhaust and sometimes I don't. When I'm on a long road trip in the middle of nowhere and there's really no one out there to impress, like I just give me the stock exhaust where I can just put at 3,500 RPM on this bike and not have something super loud. And so for the first time, I'll probably just keep the stock exhaust on a Harley-Davidson. I didn't think I'd ever say that in my lifetime, but here we are. So I think my bike is probably 90 to 95% done. I'll probably do a couple other little things. Like for example, I seem to have forgotten to put a heel shifter on here as well. And a heel shifter is pretty much mandatory for me. Like I said, I may in the future change out the bottoms of my Kraus Risers and do the 12-inch as opposed to the 10. I'll probably go with a different mirror just because the stock mirrors on this CVO are actually the same mirrors that you would get on like an Iron 883. And so I think that's kind of a little bit of an oversight from Harley-Davidson to just put these cheap ass mirrors on a CVO. But other than that, guys, I'm pretty happy. The only thing that's left to do now is to put some serious mileage on this thing. I got some trips coming your way, so stay tuned for me taking this thing out on some serious road trips. I definitely can't wait. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I try to get back to everybody. If you're looking for a new or used Harley-Davidson in Southern California, make sure you hit us up here at Laidlaw's Harley-Davidson, where we have no added dealer markup, no prep fees, and those other BS dealer fees. If you're looking to get your bike customized, come see our service department. They'll take care of you. They do really good work there. We got some awesome technicians, including John, who did my work. We'll see you guys on the next one. Talk to you guys later. See ya.